I'd like to call the Senate to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barrett. Senator Berry. Senator Blackman. Senator Blackwell. Senator Blunt. Senator Boyd. Senator Branning. Senator Brumfield. Senator Bryan. Senator Butler. Senator Carter. Senator Chazanall. Senator Chisholm. Senator DeBar. Senator Delano. Senator England. Senator Fillingane. Senator Frazier. Senator Harkins. Senator Hickman. Senator Hill. Senator Hobson. Senator Horn. Senator Jackson. Senator Johnson. Senator Jordan. Senator Kirby. Senator Ladner. Senator McCon. Senator McClendon. Senator McMahon. Senator Michelle. Senator Norwood. Senator Parker. Senator Parks. Senator Polk. Senator Rhodes. Senator Robinson. Senator Seymour. Senator Simmons of the 12th. Senator Simmons of the 13th. Senator Sparks. Senator Suber. Senator Tate. Senator Thomas. Senator Thompson. Senator Turner Ford. Senator Whaley. Senator Wiggins. Senator Williams. Senator Younger. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will the senators and guests in the gallery please rise for the invocation by Heather Hensling, who is the pastor of the First United Methodist Church in Columbia, Mississippi, and the guest of Senator Fillingane. The invocation will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Fillingane. Pastor.
Thank you, Governor and Senator Fillingane and this body. If you would bow with me. O eternal God, in these moments we give you all praise, honor, and glory. We recognize that our life stands in your appointment. Today, may this body commit their work to you. Help them to see every question of policy in the light of their faith. Help them to check in themselves every passion that makes for ungenerous judgment and presumptuous claims. Give them to recognize the needs and aspirations of all and remove suspicions and misunderstandings that they may honor all. I ask that your great and gracious presence would take up residence in this chamber and shine a light of hope on the path and direction of these leaders. Give to each a humbleness of spirit that ensures a genuine and authentic collegiality with one another and brings an awareness that in their elected capacity, they represent all people. Finally, O God, grant each one a purity of heart and a discerning spirit for the work that is now before them. Grant them sincerity that they may persistently seek that which endures. I commend these faithful men and women to your care and guidance in this session and always. By your grace, we lift these prayers in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Hensling, and thank you for coming up from Columbia today to be with us. Thank you, Senator Fillingane. Now the reading of the journal. Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Committee reports, Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next, the reading of the titles of bills and resolutions. I recognize Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the titles and bills of resolutions.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the titles of bills and resolutions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We move to announcements. Senator Tate, you're recognized for an announcement, sir.
I have an introduction.
Introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if y'all will direct your attention to my desk and to Senator Suber's desk, I have with me two very special ladies. I have Caroline Tate and Ella Tate, my two daughters, spring break 24. If y'all will, make them feel welcome.
Thank you and welcome. Good way to spring your spring break with Dad. Senator Chasnow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to introduce as well my granddaughter, who will be learning about government in Mississippi and also shadowing some of the docents so she can learn about tourism in Mississippi. Please make welcome Ayla K. Wood from Tennessee.
Ayla, nice to have you. Other introductions. Senator Hickman, you're recognized. Nope? Okay. All right, other introductions. Senator Simmons, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also paging this spring break, like they do every spring break, I got my two boys, DJ and Carter.
They're growing up. Thank you, Senator. Any other introductions? Any other introductions? Move to the calendar. Senator Hobson. Pass. Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 2, Senate Bill 2320, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2320, motor vehicles require proof of liability insurance before a license tag or detail may be issued or renewed.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a bill that basically says that no tag or decal shall be issued or renewed under this chapter unless the owner operator of the motor vehicle first presents proof of coverage by a motor vehicle liability policy as defined in 631543. So essentially it's an effort to try to curb some of the lack of insurance motorists have on the roads today. However, there are some logistic issues that we have talked about with the Department of Insurance and the Department of Revenue and our tax assessors. So I'm going to propose a reverse repeal to put in the bill to allow us to keep talking about this and to keep working on the bill, but it may wind up having to kind of backdoor into a study committee to work on over the summer, but we're going to try to see what we can come up with before the end of the session. So at the appropriate time, Mr. President, I'd like to offer that amendment.
Okay. It's appropriate time, Senator.
All right.
I see no questions.
Just adding a reverse repeal to the bill to keep it alive.
Put it on the screen, please.
If there
Thank
are
you.
no questions, I move adoption of the
Questions
amendment.
on the amendment? Moves adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator?
If there are no other questions, I move adoption of the bill on the morning or afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Of course, voting no. Present? Seeing none. 2 passes with them as amended. Item 3, Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 3, Senate Bill 2457, have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2457, alcoholic beverages, revised definition of qualified resort area under the local option alcoholic beverage control law.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize Senator Williams to explain the bill.
Senator Williams, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at the proper time, I have an amendment to the bill.
First explanation and the amendment, sir.
The explanation amendment, this is a resort status bill. Mississippi State University and the University of Mississippi have acquired properties recently that that is adjacent to their campuses, and this bill will ensure that the alcohol policy throughout the campuses will be the same for campus, so there'll be consistent enforcement and understanding of the alcohol policy throughout campus. I'll yield for any questions on the amendment.
Okay, questions on the amendment? Seeing none, we're ready for your motion, sir.
I would move that we would adopt the amendment, Mr. President.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
If there are no further questions, I'd remove adoption of the bill by use of the afternoon roll call, Mr. President.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Anyone voting no? Branning, no. Parker, no. Chisholm, no. Hill, no. Seymour, no. Anyone else? Frazier, no. Tate, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Bill passes. Noes noted. Item 4, Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to skip item 4, have it retain its place on the calendar, and skip item 5 and have it retain its place on the calendar, and go to item number 6, Senate Bill 2298, and have the title read.
4 and 5 retain their place on the calendar. Number 6, Mr. Clerk, please read title.
Senate Bill number 2298, bonds, raise maximum fee paid to state's bond attorney from $500 to $750 for validation and issuance of.
I'll make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize Senator Johnson to explain the bill.
Senator Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill allows for the maximum amount paid to the bond attorney of the state from $500 to $750 when he does his service as the bond attorney of the state. This is not an appropriation. It doesn't come out of state funds or county or local funds directly. It is paid to him from the law firm that is handling the bond, and that's an explanation of the bill. Yield to any questions.
Questions on the bill? Senator Hill, for what purpose, ma'am?
Question.
Were you for a question, Senator Johnson?
Yes.
Please proceed, Senator Hill.
So any law firm that is handling a bond for a county or municipality, the fee will now be $750 rather than I'm sorry, can you explain that one more time? I'm trying to read this bill.
Yes, so this is a maximum amount that is allowed to be paid to the bond attorney that is appointed by the governor and confirmed by this body. And that money that is paid to the bond attorney is paid from whichever law firm is handling the bond for the state, county, city, whatever.
And the current maximum is $500. Is that what you said?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Other questions? Seeing none, we're ready on your motion, sir.
Move passage using the afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? The court is voting no. Present, Hill. Chisholm, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Bill passes with 2 noted. Item 7, Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 7, Senate Bill 2466, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2466, alcoholic beverages, revise certain provisions relating to sales to persons under the age of 21.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Proceed, please, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill deals with if a permittee or employee violates the law here and sells to an underage person alcohol. The first offense, current statute, the first offense is a suspension of the permit for not more than 1 week. Second offense is a suspension of the permit for not more than 2 weeks. Third offense is a 3-week suspension, and a fourth subsequent offense occurring on the licensed premises within a 12-month period is a revocation of the permit. What this bill does is allows the commissioner to also require the permittee have an independent third-party age verification app that that would help determine whether a person to whom alcoholic beverages is sold or furnished or given cause to be sold on the licensed premises is 21 years of age or older. And the app would have to have at least an 85% accuracy rating according to national standards. We've talked about this bill in committee and thought that it may be a good idea to keep it alive and visit with ABC and Department of Revenue to find out what the structure on fines are and whether or not you implement this on the second or third violation before it gets to a fourth to help curb some of the sale to underage minors. That's the explanation of the bill. I do have an amendment at the appropriate time. It's a reverse repealer just to keep the bill alive. We didn't put it in committee, but we wanted to try to visit with the Department of Revenue and just haven't had time to get with them yet on this issue. But that's the explanation of the bill, and if the body so chooses to keep it alive, we'll continue to work on it.
Okay, you got the amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have the amendment up, Senator. Let's start with that. Senator Seymour, for what purpose, sir?
Question.
Are you for a question, Senator Harkins?
Yes.
Senator Seymour is recognized for a question.
This ID, why do we need something else other than the driver's license? Is it just?
It would use the driver's license. I guess it verifies that the ID is real. I guess it helps to curb fake IDs, some of that type of activity.
Thank you.
Senator Hill, for what purpose, ma'am?
I had a question.
You for a question, Senator Harkins?
I do.
Senator Hill is recognized for a question.
Do we have any idea how much this third-party verification app contract is going to cost each vendor?
I do not. That's what we want to look at is what the costs are, but it would be, it could be in lieu of a fine or a heavy penalty after subsequent abuses. Instead of paying a fine, if you get an app, I mean, that's what we want to talk to ABC and DOR. I mean, if we're trying to alleviate or trying to minimize sale to underage minors, this may be a tool that could be used in conjunction. So we want to get ABC's, I haven't talked to ABC yet, but we want to get their view on it and see if it may help in deterring that.
Yeah, I think I recall that somebody's been carrying the water for this, trying to get this in some of this stuff for a long time. So kind of looks like lobbyist bill, but I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well, it doesn't specifically name anybody, but I'm not necessarily married to the idea. I don't know if that's why I want to talk to ABC and find out more. If his problem is pervasive, if they're having issues, other states have used this and their rate of underage sales is a little lower. So if it helps, then it's something to consider, but it's not.
Well, I appreciate you for vetting it. Thank you.
Senator Delano, for what purpose?
Question.
Are you for a question, Senator?
I do.
Senator Delano, are you recognized?
So as you move forward with this bill, take into consideration sometimes when we have events that are outside where they don't have a wired data connection, they're using a square to charge or to use their cell phones to make charges on credit cards. But I'm curious at how this third-party application would prohibit those that do not have a full-time data connection, and if
Well,
that would
this
be
isn't
something.
required of anybody. This would be in tandem with a second, third offense of being caught selling to a minor. And if that's the case, then that's going to be their problem. Don't sell to minors, and you won't find yourself having to worry about whether you have a Wi-Fi connection, I would say. But to your point, it doesn't mandate that anybody use this. They can do it the old-fashioned way, but if they are continuously caught selling to underage children, this may be used. It's not a shall be used. It's in conjunction with. So,
Yeah, I completely understand the intent, and I'm glad that we're trying to do something to help with better enforcement of it, especially for those that are doing it legally. I'm just concerned about the slippery slope component of it, and how this could be easily move into a requirement for those that are selling alcohol.
Thank you for your question, and I get it. I don't want to make this a requirement. This would be something that we would, get with ABC and Department of Revenue on to see if this could help be used as a deterrent when subsequent multiple violations have been found to have occurred.
Questions? Further questions? Thank you, Senator Delano. All right, Senator.
Seeing no other questions, I move adoption of the amendment.
Are used to the afternoon roll call. Anyone
No,
want to?
just the adoption of the
Adoption
amendment.
I'm sorry, we're on the amendment. You're right. Adoption of the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready.
Seeing no further questions, I move adoption by the afternoon roll call.
So the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Sparks. Chisholm. No. Hill. Present. Ladner. No. Seymour. No. Anyone else? Present. Blackwell. No. Hill. No. From present. McCon, present. McClendon, present. McClendon. Delano, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill passes with as noted with the noes and present. Senator Harkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to skip item 8, 9, and 10, have them retain their place on the calendar, go to item 11, Senate Bill 2830, and have the title read.
8, 9, and 10 retain place on the calendar. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2830, Mississippi Flexible Tax Incentive Act, revised definition and annual report, due date, and correct agency reference.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize Senator Parker to explain the bill.
Senator Parker is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. You'll recall a few years ago we passed the Inflex Incentive Act. That has been very effective. MDA has been using it routinely. They have requested 3 little minor changes that are just mainly just clarification changes. So in lines 192 and in 223 through 225, it changes the qualified business term because it's used in other parts of the statute, and there's some ambiguity between this term and another term. So the bill just amends the qualified business or industry definition to include meeting the job requirement and clarify the discrepancy. In line 363, it changes reporting from monthly to quarterly. And in line 576, there's a reference to the Department of Revenue in error. It just clarifies that in that section, that reference should be to the Department of Employment Security. Those are the only changes in the bill. Any questions?
Questions on the bill? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready for your motion.
Seeing none, I recommend passage by use of more of the afternoon roll call.
Use the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, the bill passes. By use of the afternoon roll call, Senator Harkins. Senator Harkins, you have from 12 to 20. I'm sorry, I see Senator Harkins on 12. The next one is Senator Whaley. Pass. Fillingham. Pass. Michelle. Pass. Harkins. Boyd. Senator Boyd. Pass. Pass. 18, Wiggins. Senator Wiggins. Pass. Parker. Pass. Hobson. Senator Hobson passes on 20. All of these retain their place upon the calendar. DeBar. Pass. Fillingham. Pass. Now to the general. Those are all motions to reconsider. And now we're to the general calendar. Senator Fillingham. Pass and retain 23. Senator Parker. Pass and retain 24 to 26. Senator Carter. Pass and retain Senator Michelle. Pass and retain Senator Wiggins. Pass and retain 29, 30. Senator England. Pass and retain 31, 32. Senator Younger. Pass Senator Parker. Pass 34 to 37. Retain Senator Polk. Pass and retain Senator Thompson. Senator Thompson. pass and retain. 41 and 42 and 43, Senator Chasnow. Senator Chasnow, pass and retain. Senator Simmons, Derek, pass and retain. 45, Senator Branning, pass and retain. 46 to 48, Senator Suber, pass and retain. 49 51, Senator Barrett, pass. Senator Bryan, pass and retain. 54 to 58, Senator Williams, pass and retain. 59, Senator Johnson. Senator Johnson, pass and retain. 60 61, Senator Parker, pass and retains. Branning, Senator Branning. Senator Whaley, pass and retain. Senator Wiggins, pass and retain. Senator Blunt, pass and retain. That's 69, Senator Barr, pass and retain. 69 70, Senator Fillingain, pass and retain. 71 72, Senator England. Senator Whaley, Senator Bryan wasn't hurt in that fall. Senator Barnett, Senator Fillingain, Senator Carter, pass and retain. Senator Whaley, pass and retain. 79 80, Senator Bryan, pass and retain. Senator Wiggins, pass and retain. 82 83 to 45 86, Senator Polk, pass and retain. Senator Boyd, pass and retain. 88 to 90, Senator McMahon, pass and retain. 91, Senator Williams. Senator Williams, we're on 92, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call up item number 92, Senate Bill number 2698, and ask that the title be read, sir.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2698, Cyber Safety Review Board, create.
Mr. President, I move to adopt the committee sub in lieu of the original bill.
You're recognized.
And ask to explain. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a cyber board review. We've been working on this for quite some time. Actually, some people have been meeting for several months. Kind of want to go through the bill briefly and explain the composition of the board and what it does. Section 1 is the title of the bill, or the Cybersecurity Review Board. Section 2 creates the cyber board members. There'll be 7 permanent members in the board. The Homeland Security will be the chair, the executive director. This will be these people or their designee. The executive director of ITS will be the vice chair. Other members of the committee will be the DPS commissioner, the MEMA executive director, the adjunct general of the National Guard, the superintendent of education, the attorney general, and again are their designations. Section 3 will have permanent ex officio members. They will be a representative of the MML president or designee, the executive director of the Supervisors Association, the chair of technology of the Senate, the chair of technology of the House, and any additional members that the board may see fit that helps them achieve their objective. Section 4 just talks about the meeting agenda and the times they've got to do the first year and subsequently thereafter. Section 5, there will be an annual report of the Cyber Review Board that will go to the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker of the House, and the chairs of the Technology Committee of the Senate and of the House. Section 6 would allow a fund to be established by DPS. There is no funding request and not expected to be any funding request at this time for the Cyber Board. The effective date will be July the 7th. In short, what does this board do? There are a couple of objectives, as I see it, that they do. If we have an event, it kind of allows us to bring all our resources together and go in the same direction if we have a cyber event that requires that. They will create a system of reporting cyber attacks so that we can deal with that as efficiently and effectively as we can. They'll also be responsible for researching and recommending best practices throughout our state. As you may know, our state agencies are mandated by ITS as to their cybersecurity policies. Some of our local assets are not. Our counties, our cities, MDE, they each have their own sets of rules and policies that they're going. So we want to establish these minimum standards that we can go out and we can push out. Homeland Security has been administering several grants that have resources that are there available as well. And I think this will allow them to communicate more with some of the local resources as we have economic advantages for cybersecurity. If I will yield to any questions at this time.
Questions on the amendment? Questions? We see none.
there's no-
We need to make the usual motion before you make the motion to adopt, sir.
So I should make the motion to adopt the committee sub?
No, you should make a motion for the usual motion, not to read it. So just if you would say, I make the usual motion, would be sufficient.
I make the usual motion, Mr.
All in
President.
favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, Senator, we're ready on the amendment to adopt the amendment. The committee substitute first.
I would
Amendment
move,
first.
I would move that we adopt the committee sub by use of the afternoon roll call if there are no other questions, Mr. President.
Still got to do just a second.
Did I say that wrong? What I need to say? Okay. Sorry, I'd like to make a motion that we drop the committee sub, Mr. President.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready.
Now I'd make a motion that we would approve the committee sub by use of the afternoon roll call,
Use of
Mr.
the afternoon
President.
roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no. Present.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate your work on this very, very sensitive subject about cybersecurity. So thank you, Senator Williams, and your committee. All right, 93, Senator Michelle. 93 and 94 retain their place on the calendar. Senator Carter, retain your place on the calendar. Senator McCon, retain your place on the calendar. Senator Sparks, pass and retain. Senator Bryan, pass and retain. Senator Barnett, for what purpose, sir? We're on 100, Senate. Pass? Okay. Senator Simmons, D, pass and retain 100, 102. Senator Johnson. Senator Johnson, we're on 103, Senate.
I'd like to go to item 103 and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill Number 2514, State Veterans Affairs Board, revised composition of.
Move that we adopt the committee sub and ask that you recognize Senator Tate to explain.
Senator Tate, you're recognized to explain the committee substitute. Item 103, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 2514 is simply a bill that comes to us from our Mississippi Veterans Affairs Board. Right now, it's a 7-member board. It's made up of the old 5 congressional districts and then 2 at large. What this bill will simply do is change that to however many congressional districts we have at that given time, so there's no number on that. So if it's 4, if we go up to 5, if we go down to 3, but right now it'd be at 4, with the remainder of the 7 being from at large. That's an explanation of the committee sub, and I'll be happy to take any questions. If there's no questions, I ask for adoption of the committee sub.
See no questions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready, Senator.
If there's no further discussion, I ask for approval by the afternoon roll call.
You see the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Vote is no. Present. Bill passed by use of the afternoon roll call. Senator Blackwell. Pass 104 to 105, 106. Senator Barr. Pass and retain 107, 108. Senator Younger. Pass and retain. Senator Bryan. Pass and retain. Senator Blackwell. Pass and retain. Senator Wiggins. Pass and retain 114 to 118. Senator England. Pass and retain. Senator Michelle. Pass and retain. Senator England. Pass and retain. Senator Bryan. Pass and retain. Senator Boyd. Pass on 124, 125, Senator. Okay. Senator Younger. Pass on 126, Senator Wiggins. Pass and retain, Senator Fillingane. Pass and retain, Senator, I'm sorry, 129, Senator Fillingane, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 129, called up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill Number 2179, Department of Public Safety, revised certain provisions of.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to explain the committee substitute, with your permission.
You're recognized to explain the committee substitute, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill amends Section 4513 to create a new subsection 3, which would authorize the Commissioner of Public Safety to enter into a lease or a sublease agreement for the space at the Department of Public Safety Headquarters building with a third party for the purpose of providing services and assistance to the department and its employees upon the written approval from the Executive Director of the DFA. The proceeds received from the said lease shall be paid into the state general fund. The bill also amends Section 45.351 to authorize all law enforcement officers of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety to retain his or her sidearm upon retirement, and authorizes a beneficiary of a law enforcement officer of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety to retain the sidearm of an officer or agent who is killed in the line of duty. Previously, these procedures were only authorized for the highway patrol officers and agents of the NBN specifically. That is what the committee substitute does. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions on the substitute, Senator Sparks. For what purpose, sir?
A question.
Are you here for a question,
Yes,
Senator
sir.
Lane? You recognize Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I meant to mention this, I guess, earlier. I think I may be mentioning committee. Are we talking about the current DPS building or the new one they're going to move into? Because I don't think it designates.
Yes, it's. I asked that specific question of Commissioner Tyndall, and it's specifically for the new building because they tell me that they don't own the current building. It's owned by another entity in state government. So when I asked that question, he was like, "We don't own that building, so we have no authority to lease it anyway."
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, Senator, we're ready. Your motion on the committee substitute.
I move adopt the committee substitute, please.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
If no other questions, I move adopt somebody for the afternoon roll call.
Seeing no other question, afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, bill passes by use of the afternoon roll call. Senator Bryan. Passed and retained beginning on 130 through 131 to 137. Senator DeBar. Passed and retained 138 to 143. Senator Williams. Senator Williams on 144, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask that item number 144, Senate Bill 2062, ask that the title be called up and the title read, please.
Got to make the usual motion, sir.
I make the usual motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. We're ready now.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt the committee sub in lieu of the original bill.
You're recognized to explain the committee substitute.
I would like to ask that Senator Johnson be allowed to explain the bill, sir.
Senator, you're recognized. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill sets up a task force for K-12 education to make recommendations on how they can implement artificial AI into their curriculum. As y'all know, AI is here. There are many people who have fears of AI and many people who are gung-ho on AI, and we would like to find ways that we can integrate AI into public education, K-12, that can help students and teachers get the most out of school, but also train students how to use AI in an appropriate and proper way. And that's an explanation of the bill, but we do have an amendment at the proper time.
Okay. Seeing no questions, we're on the amendment, please, sir.
Thanks, sir. Let me get it to the...
One moment, please. 1 second.
No.
Okay, Senator, we need to adopt the committee substitute, then we'll go to the amendment.
Move adoption of the committee sub.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay, 1 second, please.
And then ask that you recognize Senator Blackman to discuss his amendment.
Senator Blackman, you're recognized to discuss the amendment. It's on the screen.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this amendment would do is to ensure that the appointees from school districts that have technology innovation come from separate school districts so that we can have a diversity of thought, because if they ended up coming from the same school district, everything would look good to them because they have the money and the technology to make it happen, but it wouldn't necessarily work for other school districts. So to get a diversity of thought so that we can have school districts that might not have as advanced technology so that they can give their input so that we can make sure it works for everybody instead of just the most well-off. And that's an explanation of the amendment, and I would add that I will be back up here to explain the bill. So with that, I'm open to any questions on the amendment.
Questions on the amendment? Senator McClendon, for what purpose, sir?
Question, please.
Will you yield for a question, Senator?
Yes.
Senator McClendon, you're recognized for a question.
On these school districts with different members, are we going to allow D and F school district?
Well, in the bill, it says with innovative technology, and I can't really imagine there are many that would qualify that are D and F districts.
So I guess the question is, does this chamber want D and F school districts to be part of this?
Well, if that's, I believe it's the Lieutenant Governor who has the appointments in this section, so if they believe that's who's qualified enough to be on there, I don't see why they shouldn't be allowed to be appointed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator McClendon. Other questions on the amendment? Seeing none.
I move for adoption of the amendment.
Senator Johnson.
I think the amendment adds to the bill. I think in regards to DNF school districts, there's still school districts in our state, and I think that as a whole, we need to see what everyone's needs are, and so I think it's a good amendment to this bill.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. And we'll go back. All in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it. Back on the...
If there's no further questions, move passage of the bill using the afternoon roll call.
So that, using the afternoon roll call, it's been requested, Senator Hill. One moment.
Question.
All right, we got a question. Senator Johnson, will you yield for a question?
Yes, sir.
Senator Hill, you're recognized for a question on the bill before we take the vote.
The task force makes recommendations for incorporating AI into educational standards, require the task force to make recommendations on strategies to create it. And down in that bill, I read something about to make recommendations on incorporating AI into development of curriculum standards. Did you read that part?
Yes.
I guess my question is, do we really want to incorporate AI into development of educational standards?
I read that differently. Not exactly the standards for what we would teach children. However, use AI as part of the standards that we are teaching children.
I don't know if I can go back and find that part because I've been having computer problems, but if I think I read it twice and it said incorporate AI into the development of curriculum standards is what I think I read.
Yep. Again, I think...
Whereas now we have, individuals write curriculum standards. I don't know that AI wouldn't do better or worse. I really don't. It's just, so that I guess that was just my question is, do we want to turn over the development of curriculum standards for AI to tell us what we need to teach our kids?
Well, this is only a task force, so whatever they come up with is non-binding. However, if that's something that we would get to and it would work better, then perhaps we should consider it. I just think that you don't teach AI as in this is a course on AI.
Right.
You integrate it in the curriculum.
Right.
And I think from my perspective, that's the way I understood that to be.
But using it to develop curriculum standards is a whole other ballgame, and that's
Yes.
that's what I read. I thought I read, but
Well, if the task force makes that recommendation, we can cross that bridge when we get
and
there.
I guess my other concern is they would make that recommendation. Would that be to the legislature or to the department or both?
I think to both.
It's both.
Yes.
So that would be my concern is I wouldn't want the department to act without the legislature on something that heavy, I
Yes.
guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Other questions? Okay, now we're ready, Senator.
Move adoption using the afternoon roll call.
The afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Of course, voting no. Present, Hill. No, Chisholm. Anyone else? No, Tate. Present, Seymour. Present, Barrett. Present, Branning. Senator Hickman's daughter voted present. Bill passes. Thank you, Senator. By use of the afternoon roll call, Senator Bryan. 145, Senator Delano. Pass and retain 146, Senator England. Pass and retain Senator Parker. Senator Parker, we're on 148, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to pass on item 148, go to item 149, Senate Bill 2218. I have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
2218. Senate Bill number 2218, Mississippi-Ireland Trade Commission established.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like you to recognize Senator Harkins to explain the bill.
Senator Harkins, you're recognized to explain the bill. 149, Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, this bill sets up a Mississippi-Ireland Trade Commission in light of some of the stuff that goes on in D.C. Countries are starting to go directly to states to set up trade commissions to work with states directly. And this basically sets up an Ireland-Mississippi Trade Commission. It is made up of appointees, 3 from the governor, 2 from the lieutenant governor, 2 from the Speaker of the House. The President of Mississippi Economic Council shall appoint 1 member. The Executive Director of the Mississippi Development Authority or his or her designee shall serve as ex officio member, and the Commissioner of the Institutions of Higher Learning or his or her designee shall serve as ex officio non-voting member. They're 4-year terms. This is without compensation at the will and pleasure of the appointing authority. Since Brexit, Ireland has become a major gateway through the EU, and the United States is one of the biggest exporters of Ireland and is one of our top 12 trading partners in Mississippi. So that's the explanation of the bill. I'll be happy to yield for any questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none?
Seeing none, move adoption by the afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present? Seeing none, bill passes. Please tell Mark Daly. 150.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 150, Senate Bill 2917. Have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2917, Capital Complex Improvement District Define Authority.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed. Senator Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just a simple addition or a little cleanup language to the CCID authority. In lines 41 through 44, it adds that the removal of blight to adds removal of blight to the authority of the CCID board in case they receive grants or other money to do that. This does not give money. Representative Ronnie Crudup on the other side had a similar bill that did not make it out of Ways and Means. Section 2 of the bill provides that the board may implement and oversee projects paid for with funds from the CCID board or other funds appropriated by the legislature. Section 3 provides the effective date to be July 1 of 2024. We did have some conversations with Rebecca Staples, and she did say that the blight removal is something that they could do and that they do have the ability to do. I do have, for anyone who wants it, I have a picture of state-owned property in the city of Jackson. There are 2,431 properties. I've got copies on my desk if anyone wants a copy of this, but we have a significant problem, and this would help to address that. The other thing, I do have an amendment at the proper time based on a question that came up. I yield for questions at this moment.
Questions on the bill? Okay.
So the amendment should be, do you have any questions?
No, sir, we're good.
Amendment should be on the desk.
Yeah, it's on the screen. It's up.
We got it.
Okay. So basically, this came from a question from Senator Thompson in committee, and we are just going to insert on line 44, which comes after the words concerning the blight, which constitute a nuisance to public health, safety, and welfare, inserting the words, provided that private property owners receive due process within the meaning of state and federal law. We just wanted to be sure that there was not any infringement on someone's personal property rights in what we're doing with this, And so I think that cleans it up and makes it be a lot more transparent as to the intent of the bill. So I yield for questions on the amendment.
Senator Blunt, for what purpose, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have a question on the amendment, but I would like to speak on the bill on final passage.
Okay. Ready on your motion on the amendment, sir?
So if there are no questions on the amendment, I move adoption of the amendment.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now we're ready. Senator Blunt on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Senator Parker bringing this bill forward, and I intend to vote for it. I think just briefly to talk about the purpose of the Capital Complex Improvement District, because sometimes there's some confusion about what it's there to do. It's there to do things that are exactly like what are proposed in this bill. It's an infrastructure project. It is run by a board. The current chair of the board was appointed by the governor. The lieutenant governor has an appointment. The speaker has an appointment. The money goes directly to the Department of Finance and Administration for infrastructure. It's desperately needed. You can see the work that was done right here at High Street and Lamar Street in front of the Wright and Ferguson building. That was paid for. Work on Capitol Street has been done through this. Work right now on State Street is being done through the Capital Complex Improvement District. It's a good program. If you'd like to see the master plan that they've developed, you can look at it, go to the DFA website and hit the tab for CCID. They're doing good work. Frankly, I would like to see this legislature invest more in this program so they can do more and do it faster. But I wanted to, because sometimes this topic has been the subject of some controversy, I wanted to briefly address what it's there for, the good work that it's doing, and ask for your continued support for infrastructure where the state has a substantial investment here in Jackson. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Blunt. Senator Parker?
Thank you, Senator Blunt. I share the same sentiments. If there are no questions, I move passage of the bill by the use of the afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? I'm sorry. Do we have a question? Senator McCon, for what purpose, sir?
Question.
Were you here for a question, Senator
Certainly.
Parker? Please proceed, Senator.
So my real question here is that we're looking at giving them the demolition removal process, the powers here. Would there be an assessment that goes back on the taxes, and will that funds come back to the district, or would it go back to the city and county? How is that going to be processed?
So in my research on it right now, there's a process that gives the Secretary of State some ability to do this. They don't have the time and the funds and the ability to do this. Most of these properties, I think the city will the CCID will just be removing them. They will basically incur the cost of that through grants or monies that they receive. It won't be returned to because this is moved into state-owned property, there won't be any return or situation back unless, of course, all of a sudden the owner shows up with some claim to the property. So it doesn't deal with that, but I don't think the Secretary of State's language on blight does either. So it's a good question, but I don't have a clear answer for you.
I think Senator Blunt's got a response to that.
Okay.
But this is not just state-owned property. This would be private property with due process rights attaching, correct?
Right, with that provision that the amendment applied to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McCon. Other questions? Seeing none, now we're ready for your motion, Senator.
Move passage by use of the afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Of course, voting no. Present. Seeing none, bill passes. Thank you, Senator Parker. Senator Hobson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. My motion is that we suspend the rules to go back to item 20 on today's calendar.
The motion is to suspend the rules and go back to item 20 on the calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, Senator.
Thank you. I would ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2846, appropriations, make technical revisions to certain transfers and provisions related to local projects.
I move that we do reconsider the vote by which it passed and ask to be recognized to explain.
The motion is to reconsider the vote You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the local projects bill from last year. Senator Harkins explained the technical changes that needed to be made a few days ago, and there was one that Senator Branning had in her district that we could amend. So my motion to reconsider is for the purposes of allowing her to bring forth an amendment to add into that bill.
Motion is to reconsider. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now that we're back on the bill, I'd ask that you recognize Senator Branning.
Senator Branning is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe there is an amendment on the desk.
We just got it.
The purpose of the amendment is to simply clarify some language that we had passed through this bill last year to allow for a long-term lease of Marty Stewart's collection in conformity with their internal documents that we have just received in the last several weeks. No new money in the bill, nothing changed from last year other than we're just clarifying the nature of the ownership. Happy to yield for questions. Otherwise, I move adoption of the amendment.
Questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, we're on the bill.
Final passage on the afternoon roll call.
Senator Hobson, do you wish to address him?
Yeah, I agree. That's the motion. Final passage, Senate Bill 2846 by use of the afternoon roll call.
Use of the afternoon roll call has been suggested. Anyone object to procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Seeing none, bill passes by use of the afternoon roll call.
Thank
Senator
you, Mr.
Hobson.
President. I ask for immediate release on that item.
Immediate release has been requested. Seeing no objection is granted. Senator Frazier.
Introduction of the order, please.
Please proceed.
I would like the Senate to make welcome in the South Gallery two outstanding teachers from Clinton, Mississippi. Emily Stringham, a high school government teacher, and also Becca Sullivan. She's a second grade reading intervention teacher, and she's also the daughter of our good friend Joel Yeverton. So please make them welcome.
Welcome, teachers. We appreciate you. Senator Norwood.
Introduction of the resolution, award, Mr. President.
We're ready on introductions because we've completed the calendar. Go ahead, Senator Norwood. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Commend SWAC Championship tradition of JSU Coach of the Year, Rose Washington.
Senator McClendon, for what purpose?
Introduction, please.
Please proceed, Senator McClendon.
Today, I'd like the Senate to welcome, on behalf of Senator Parker, Senator Blackwell, Senator Jackson, and myself, new representative from DeSoto County and Olive Branch, Mississippi, Miss Representative Kimberly Remack.
Good to have you here, Representative. Appreciate all your good work in DeSoto and around the state, actually. Okay, other announcements. Other announcements. Senator Blackman, you're recognized for an announcement, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to be added as a co-author to item 92, Senate Bill 2698.
92, Mr. Clerk. No objection granted. Senator Carter.
Adjourn the memory.
Please proceed.
Well, the Senate adjourns today. I would ask that they adjourn the memory of Charles Chuck Pringle on behalf of me and Senator Delano.
Thank you, Senator Carter. Senator Whaley on announcement.
Adjourning memories, please.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, on behalf of myself and Senator Chisholm, I'd ask that the Senate would adjourn in memory of Miss Ainsley Haynes Thompson of Inglemoor, a high school junior at Inglemoor High School. And then also, I would like, on behalf of myself, Senator Blackwell, Senator Parker, and Senator McClendon, young man from Olive Branch, Mississippi, a junior at Marshall Academy, Mr. Cutter Crass, please.
Thank you, Senator. Other announcements. Other announcements. Senator Sparks, you're recognized for announcement, sir.
Adjourning memory.
Please proceed.
When the Senate adjourns today, I would ask that they would adjourn in the memory of the Northeast Mississippi Community College Chief of Police William Anthony Anderson,
who passed away this weekend at an athletic event.
Thank you, Senator Sparks. Senator Seymour, for an announcement, sir.
Mr. President, I would like to be added to as co-author to line item 149, Senate Bill 2218, with the consent Senate.
2218, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Senator. Seeing no objection, Senator Barnett, for an announcement.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be by unanimous because it added to co-author to today's calendar number 92, Senate Bill 2698, and also an adjourned memory.
2698, Secretary. Seeing no objection, granted. Please proceed.
Yes, sir. I'd like to adjourn in memory of a classmate of mine, Miss Lisa Newell, who passed away this weekend in a car accident.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Parker, you recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. With unanimous consent, I'd like to be added to 3 items on today's calendar. Item 92, Senate Bill 2698, item 149, Senate Bill 2218, and item 150, Senate Bill 2917.
No objection, granted. Mr. Clerk, on announcements, do you have meetings scheduled, sir? I'm sorry, Senator Butler, for what purpose, sir?
Yes, Mr. President. I would like to be added to Senate Bill number 92, 2698.
No, sir. No, sir.
With unanimous consent.
Seeing no objection, granted. Senator Hobson, for an announcement, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. Adjournment memory.
Please proceed.
When the Senate adjourns today, I ask that they do so in memory of Maxine Fox of Port Gibson and Vicksburg. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. We have a busy couple of days, Senate, so we'll go to Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Till 10 a.m. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Standing adjourned.